Hello, today we are going to speak about conditional sentences. Conditional sentences consider imagined or uncertain situations and the possible results of these situations. The most common types of conditional sentences involve if. Imagine situation, if I get the job in Milan, and result, I'll be pretty happy. Or outcome, we will have the party in the garden. Imagine situation, as long as it doesn't rain. Or if it doesn't rain, or on condition that it doesn't rain. Conditional sentences consist of a conditional clause and a main clause. Two clauses. Conditional clause. If a lot of people come, main clause, we will have to get extra chairs. Now, conditional clause. Unless you book weeks in advance, main clause, you won't get a flight. The verb in the conditional clause reflects the speaker's point of view on whether the imagined situation is likely or impossible. If you win the next match, will you be in the semi-final? Present simple plus will indicate the speaker thinks winning the match is possible or likely. Second example. If I won £1 million, I would give this job up tomorrow. Here, past simple plus would indicate the speaker thinks winning £1 million is not likely to happen. Third example. If we had won the competition, we would have had a free trip to Moscow. Past perfect plus would have refers to an impossible condition. The event did not happen. Now let's speak about the order of clauses. Conditional clauses usually come before main clauses, but they may also come after them. Example. If you see Dora, will you give her a message? Here, conditional clause first, a comma is normally used in writing. Second, I'll go to Bristol tomorrow if the weather is good. Conditional clause second, a comma is not normally used in writing. The verb in the conditional clause may be in the simple form or the continuous form, depending on the meaning. Firstly, if you owe money, you must pay it back immediately. It's simple. If you are feeling hungry, we can go and get something to eat. It's continuous. If he had time, he always called in to see us. Again, simple. If they were walking, we always tried not to disturb them. Continuous. For the purposes of studying, conditional sentences are usually divided into three main types. First one, structures with real condition. First type of conditional sentences or first conditional. Second, structures with unreal condition referring to the present or future. Here, second type of conditional sentences, or it is called second conditional. Third, structures with unreal condition referring to the past. It is called third type of conditional sentences or third conditional. Conditional sentences of the first type or real condition or indicative mood are described here for comparison with conditional sentences of the second and third type, unreal condition or subjunctive mood. Adverbial clauses of condition are also described in the material. So, conditionals with if. Some example of these conditionals. Types of conditions. Some are possible or likely, others are unlikely, and others are impossible. First example. If the weather improves, we will go for a walk. It is possible or likely that the weather will improve. Second example. If the weather improved, we could go for a walk. It is not likely that the weather will improve. Third example. If the weather had improved, we could have gone for a walk. The weather did not improve. Fine weather is therefore an impossible condition. These types of conditions are used in 3 types of sentences called first, second, and third conditional sentences. Now let's speak about the first type or the first conditional. We use the first conditional to talk about the result of an imagined future situation when we believe the imagined situation is quite likely. Imagine future situation. If the taxi doesn't come soon, future result, I will drive you myself. Now, conditional clause. There are 2 clauses, conditional clause and main clause. The conditional clause, if plus present simple. In the main clause, modal verb with future here, yeah? With a future meaning, or shall, should, will, would, can, could, or may, or might, etc. If he gets a job in Liverpool, he will have to get up early. It's a long drive. So if he gets a job in Liverpool, it's a conditional clause beginning with if, yeah? And the main clause, he will have to get up early. It's a long drive. It's the main clause. Or if Sheila rings, I might ask her to come over for dinner. If Sheila rings, it's a conditional clause beginning with if. And the main clause, I might ask her to come over for dinner. We use the modal verb in the main clause, not in the conditional clause. If a lawyer reads the document, he will see if we have missed anything important. But don't say, if a lawyer will read the document. It's not correct. Now let's speak about the second conditional. We use the second conditional to talk about the possible result of an imagined situation in the present or future. We say what the conditions must be for the present or future situation to be different. Example, if people complained, things would change. It means people don't complain at the moment. Conditional clause, if plus past simple. Main clause, modal verb with future in the past meaning should, would, might, or could. If you asked her nicely, she would say, yes, I'm sure. If you ask her nicely, it's a conditional clause beginning with if. She would say, yes, I'm sure. It's the main clause. We use a past form in the conditional clause to indicate a distance from reality, rather than indicating past time. We often use past forms in this way in English. We use would in the main clause, not in the conditional clause. If you decided to take the exam, you would have to register by 31st of March. But don't say like this. If you would decide to take the exam, it's not correct. Could, might, should in conditionals. Modal verbs could and might are often used in the main clause of conditional sentences with unreal condition, and could is sometimes used in the if clause with unreal condition. The verb may is generally not used in conditional sentences with unreal condition. She might go for a walk in the park if it stopped raining. Or she might get a better job if she could speak English. In this sentence, there are 2 modal verbs, might and could. Should can be used after if in clauses with real or unreal condition referring to the future to show that the indicated action is even less likely to happen. Compare these pairs of standard conditional sentences and those in which should adds more uncertainty to the supposition about the indicated condition. Real condition or first type. If he comes before 5 o'clock, I will ask him to wait for you. If he should come before 5 o'clock, I will ask him to wait for you. Now, unreal condition or second type. If he came before 5 o'clock, I would be very surprised. If he should come before 5 o'clock, I would be very surprised. It's also possible. Now, constructions like, if you ask me, I would help you. Unreal condition in the present or future. And if you had asked us, we would have helped you. Unreal condition in the past are standard constructions used in conditional sentences with unreal condition. They are very common in both British English and American English. Constructions like, if you ask me, I should help you. And if you had asked us, we should have helped you, are also used in British English. In such constructions, should after the pronouns I and we in the main clause has the same meaning as would. Now finally the third conditional. The situation refers to the past. The time is gone and there is no possibility of realizing the indicated condition and the action that depends on this condition because they are already in the past. Thus, the condition indicated in the if clause is unrealizable or unreal and contrary to fact. To show unreal condition in the past, the verb in the subordinate clause, it means in the part where the condition is stated, is used in the past perfect subjunctive, which is the same in form as the past perfect, or had known, or had wanted. The construction would plus perfect infinitive, it means would plus have plus past participle, is used in the main clause. Had and would may be contracted to d in speech. If I had known his telephone number then, I would have called him, but I didn't know his telephone number then and I didn't call him. If she had wanted to visit us yesterday, she would have found the time for it. If you had told me about it at that time, I would not have believed you. What would he have done if he hadn't been sick last week? We would have gone to the park yesterday if it had not been raining so hard. Now, let's speak about absence of if. The conjunction if is sometimes omitted. It means we don't use it. It is omitted in the conditional sentences in which the if clause contains should, were, or had. In such cases, should, were, or had is moved to the beginning of the sentence and stands before the subject of the if clause. In the negative sentences without if, the negative particle not is not contracted with the auxiliary verb and stands after the subject of the subordinate clause. Examples of conditional sentences with and without the conjunction if. Real condition, or first type. If Mr. Rocks should call, ask him to call me again after 5. Should Mr. Rocks call, ask him to call me again after 5. Unreal condition or second type. If you should want to go to a restaurant, I would be glad to keep you company. Should you want to go to a restaurant, I would be glad to keep you company. Unreal conditional second type. If I were younger, I would go to the mountains with you. Were I younger, I will go to the mountains with you. Now, unreal condition or third type. If he had known about it, he would have refused to go home. Had he known about it, he would have refused to go. Now let's speak about mixed conditionals. Generally, both parts of conditional sentences with unreal condition refer to the same time. But there may be cases in which one part refers to the present or future, and the other part refers to the past. Such constructions are called mixed conditionals. If he were a good specialist, he would have found the problem with my computer quickly enough yesterday. If he had sold his paintings when he had good offers, he could buy a house for his family now. In the examples below, unreal condition is implied, not stated directly. The context makes the meaning clear, and the verb is used in the same form as in the main clause of the full conditional sentence with unreal condition. I talked with Tom and Nina today. They would be glad to see you. Why didn't you call me? I would have come to your house right away. I would have visited them, but I didn't know their address. Sometimes the if clause or unreal condition is replaced by the construction but for, or if not for, plus noun or pronoun. Such structures can be used in situations referring to the past or present. Compare these pairs of conditional sentences. First example. But for the children, they would have divorced years ago. If it hadn't been for the children, they would have divorced years ago. But for the traffic jams, I'd like it here very much. If it weren't for the traffic jams, I'd like it here very much. If not for her, he would never have become such a good doctor. If it hadn't been for her, he would never have become such a good doctor. After what if, suppose that, let's suppose that, supposing that, either real condition or unreal condition can be used, depending on the meaning and context. The conjunction that is often omitted after supposing. Compare the sentences. First one. What if he decides to go there? What will you do? What if she lost your diamond ring? Would you forgive her? Suppose he refuses to help us. In that case, he will ask someone else. Supposing it rained tomorrow, what would you do? In that case, we would stay home. Suppose that he had told her about his past before their wedding 5 years ago. Do you think she would have married him? Now, let's speak about examples of use. The past subjunctive is the same in form as the simple past tense, and the past perfect subjunctive is the same in form as the past perfect tense. Moreover, the situations in which they are used may be similar. Examples illustrating the use of real and unreal condition in similar situations are given at the end of subjunctive mood summary in the section grammar. Other examples as well as explanations of different similar cases can be found in several answers to visitors' questions in the subsection messages about grammar of the section messages. Conditional sentences with real and unreal condition are widely used in English, but they are difficult for language learners. Use standard constructions with real and unreal condition and make your conditional sentences simple and short. That's all. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.